Hi everyone, greetings from Miami. Tonight I'm going to be making a mushroom stew with some goat cheese, and I just picked up the ingredients at Whole Foods. A lot of the things that I wanted were not available since everybody's shopping because of the virus. A lot of things were just not on the shelves, so I had to improvise. But let's see the ingredients and I'll show you what we're working with. Okay, so I've prepared everything on this platter here and a little bit on the side. This is called mise en place. It means things in place. You basically just get all your ingredients ready so that you're not running around afterwards scrambling. And here I have a yellow onion, garlic cloves, marjoram, parsley, goat cheese to finish, 2 vine ripe tomatoes, 2 long green peppers because I like things spicy, and an assortment of mushrooms, oyster, shiitake, and baby bell. Then we have olive oil, some cumin, bay leaves, and I could not find tomato paste. So as a substitution, I found this Indian tomato chili sauce. And I'm just gonna be using it as a tomato paste because it's just tomatoes, oil, and some various spices. So first I'm gonna just dice up this yellow onion by removing the top of it, keeping the root on, and going straight down the center. Next up, you'll peel the skin. Follow these vertical lines along the onion to get slices, and then come across horizontally to get a dice. Okay, and then you should be left with this. This is half an onion diced. Then off camera, I just went ahead and minced up some garlic and thinly sliced my peppers. I left the seeds in because I do like quite a bit of heat, and I don't know, hopefully it'll kick my immune system into overdrive. So now that I've got my aromatics chopped up, I just put the pan onto medium heat and added some olive oil. Once that's nice and hot, I will add my onions first. So while the onions are cooking in the pan, I'm just gonna dice up my tomatoes. So I don't really want any color on these. I just want them to get a little bit soft before I add the garlic, because garlic has some sugars in it and it will burn quite quickly. So I give the onions a head start. I got my chilies in there. Next step is going to be to add these spices. Now that that's getting a nice little color to it, I'm just going to add a generous amount of cumin. This is completely eyeballed because I don't measure when I cook at home. I went ahead and salted everything on this pan, and now I'm going to add a little heaping of that Indian tomato sauce that I showed you earlier. So I'm giving everything a good mix, and I'm going to let all these flavors come together and caramelize right before I add the tomatoes. All right, let's actually go ahead, add your bay leaf in and your marjoram, just for a quick second. Now I'm leaving them on the stem because I will pull this whole thing out later. And tomatoes. I'm giving that a toss. It's getting squeaky and nice. Once the pan starts to get a little bit dry, I'm going to deglaze it with some water. I really recommend using chicken stock or vegetable stock if you want to keep this vegan, but I'm not in my own house, and the person whose house I am in has some bouillon cubes from 2016, and I'm not very comfortable with that, so I'm just going to use water. I've gone ahead and lowered the heat just a little bit, and there's my water. Continue to add increments of water or your broth, like I said, as this pan continues to get dry. While my stew is simmering, I'm going to gently slice up my mushrooms. First, I'll be removing the stem and then just going along them. So in a separate small pan, I added some olive oil and butter because I'm going to brown my mushrooms with the exception of the delicate wild oysters. And I also removed the marjoram from the pan. Do them in small increments so that they get a nice color and don't steam up. So cooking's about the senses. While you're doing other things in the kitchen, smell to make sure nothing's burning, hear to make sure things are sizzling, not over crisping, and also keep an eye on them. So I'm not completely turning my back to the pans. I will be checking on them. My first batch looks pretty good. I went ahead and added some more, and then in about 2 or 3 more rounds, I'll be fully done. So while my next batch of mushrooms are hitting the pan, I also picked up some ciabatta at Whole Foods, which I'm going to slice up and toss in some olive oil. Get them really nice and crispy and serve them with the stew to sop up all that sauce. I'm continuously adding water to make sure that it's the proper consistency, and I'm tasting it as I go, just to make sure I can make any adjustments if I need to. I'm gonna get some parsley ready to garnish at the end, and then I'll show you what we do with the goat cheese. I just went ahead and lowered the stew even more, and I opened up my goat cheese. Got a small tablespoon, and I'm just gonna be adding small little increments of goat cheese everywhere. Careful not to stir it in completely because I don't want this to completely dissolve. I do want some nice chunks, but enough for you to get the creamy feel throughout. Okay, so this is the final product. I went ahead and plated it on 2 dishes. You can see the mushrooms and some of the goat cheese throughout with the parsley on top just to give it a nice bright touch. I plated the toasted bread over here with some prosciutto. So now I'm gonna taste a little bit just for quality assurance purposes. Really good. So once again, you can adjust this, you can add whatever seasonings you want, use whatever mushrooms you have available, and take your time with it because the stew turns out really good.